Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Dave. May the Schwartz be with you. So in today's video, it's actually for my gun guys out there. No wristwatch this time, but don't worry. I got another watch video coming up next Monday, so make sure you stay tuned for that. For my gun guys out there, I'm gonna be heading out to the range here in about a day or two, and so I just wanted to show a couple of things that I like to do to prepare before I head out to the range and just freshen up on some skills, because it's been a while since I went out last time. So I'm gonna shake off some of the rust and give you 3 things that I always recommend doing before you go to the range to ensure you maximize the time you spend out there. There's nothing worse than wasting time and money and ammunition. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay guys, so when I go out to the range, I'm gonna be training on pistol. And I like to conceal carry, appendix carry in the waistband. That's just how I carry my gun. And so when I recommend you're practicing at home, dress the way you would dress when you go out in public. I don't see a lot of guys with tactical gear on, stuff like that. But in my opinion, dress the way you normally dress for concealed carry. That way you practice in those kind of clothing. All right, before we get started, let's go ahead and do a safety check. Gun is empty, so always make sure. Being my first video doing any type of training, I just want to let you guys know there should be no live ammunition anywhere near you or your firearm when you're practicing at home. So a couple of things, obviously there's no magazine in this gun either. There's no ammo near me. I'm not using snap caps, anything like that, to minimize any risk of there being any accidents. Also, as you see my target back here, beyond the wall is a room, and then of course I don't have any neighbors directly behind me. So I do have neighbors on each side of me, and I want to make sure that I don't do any practice facing their homes, again, to make sure that they're safe, I'm safe in case something should go wrong, which shouldn't if you're doing all your safety steps. Okay, so now we got all the safety stuff out of the way. I'm just gonna share with you the 3 things that I recommend doing before you head out to the range. And this is stuff you can do at home. It's free, doesn't cost anything, just takes a little bit of time. That's gonna be your grip on your pistol, since we're working on pistol, trigger control, so working on that trigger, and then of course on the target we're going to be working on sight acquisition. And so that means coming as you draw and getting those sights lined up where they need to be before taking the shot. Those are the 3 things that I like to work on. So as you can see on the wall here, I have a Viking Tactics or VTAC target. This is double-sided, so on the back here you can see you have some other precision-based targets that you can work on as far as your accuracy, precision, so that's good. And then on the front side, which is what I almost always use at the range, is going to be your silhouette target. So as you can see, it's pretty life size, and it's got your 3 main areas. So you got your pelvis, largest bone structure there. You have vitals, heart and lungs, then of course headshot, your T-box. There's also a built-in IPSC target shape, so for my competitive shooters out there, something to practice on as well. Really good. And in my opinion, when you go to the range, you want to train on things that are going to be shaped like what you would be encountering in a life or death situation. So no zombies or game targets, cute things like that. To me, practice on what you're going to encounter. Now, obviously, these targets don't move. They don't change positions. They're not bending or any of that. So again, this is the best we can do to at least let you know where you're hitting face to face. You'll notice these post-its that I have as well. So I stick those on the wall to work with sight acquisition at different heights. So when we train for sight acquisition, of course, a lot of it's going to be getting into your grip and your stance and everything, but a lot of times you're just doing it straight forward. With these, it allows you to point in different various locations. That way you can kind of get an idea, not just straight ahead, but also looking up, looking down. Can you get those sights lined up? And the fluorescent post-it just makes it easier to see your sights. Okay, so for gripping the pistol, since at my range they don't let us draw, so we can't actually work on draw and fire. They won't allow that. So you can always practice drawing from concealment another time. But for me, since I'm going to be working on live fire, I'm going to go ahead and just be in low ready at the range, work on sight acquisition, taking shots. As far as the grip, I like to get up high on that tang, because if I am drawing from concealment, the first thing I'm going to do is grab that gun as high up there as I can while I pull it. So basically having that grip just set up from the start is what we're looking for. I'm right-handed. My main hand goes up here, finger off the trigger, and I'm up as high as I can, and I'm squeezing already pretty tight. We take our support hand, and just like that, in that black part of the gun we see here, putting the meat of our palm in there and pressing. Then I'm going to wrap my fingers so my index finger is touching up under the trigger guard, this is pressing, my thumb is here, and then I'm grabbing my main hand with my support hand and I'm squeezing. So this gun is, I'm just squeezing very hard from the sides and also pushing the back of my palm up against the rear. Because remember, when you take a shot, the gun is pushing backwards because of the explosion from the barrel. And then of course the slide is moving back, and so you're getting that upward motion. That's why the gun tends to move like this when you fire. So by having that grip there, and I use my support hand thumb to also press against the frame while I'm pulling over here. And so that way, since this finger's doing the shooting, it allows me to really keep control as I drive it forward and take that shot. Work on that. Always record yourself at the range if you can, because I know one thing that I see with grip when I go to the range with other people is they do this kind of thing where they point, they shoot, recoil, and then they change their grip. So take another shot, change their grip, or they do some sort of adjustment for some reason. So I think it's a subconscious thing. They're not aware they're doing it. So when you see yourself doing it, as you play back that video, you can say, oh, okay, so when I go home and dry fire, okay, so we're gonna take the shot, don't move. Take the shot, don't move my grip. Take the shot, keep my grip the same. And that way, you train yourself to stop doing those small movements that may affect your speed and your accuracy. So that's our grip, got that down. Next thing we're gonna work on is the trigger control. So the way I like to do this is when you have your grip, you have your finger on the trigger, see what feels natural to you, because everyone's hand shape is different, finger length is different. So pull slowly, and we're just waiting for that break. Now this is a striker fire pistol, so it's a little different from like a single action or double action, single action. So for me, we're gonna ride that reset, and as soon as the reset happens, pull the trigger. Now, you're not just pulling the trigger and slamming it, because then that's going to create movement in your gun. But what we're looking for is a smooth, steady pull. Smooth release, smooth pull. And then as you get more comfortable with it, as you work with your grip, and then we speed up. And you just do that over and over and over, and that's gonna help you get faster when it comes to doing your draws and shooting. It's gonna help you with your speed. So now that we got grip, trigger control, all that done, we're gonna go ahead and work on sight acquisition. So we're gonna face our target, and I'm gonna aim here in the vitals, center target, center mass, and this is where we're gonna look for our sight picture. So remember, we can't draw at the range. So what we're gonna do is just be safety off, grip ready, and align our sights. And align our sights. So something like that, okay? And once you have that ready in the middle, and you feel comfortable with it, however many times you have to draw out like that, then we're gonna work on those post-its. So we can go up top. We go for the head. And we draw out to the middle. And then we go down below. And we just keep, so that way you know when you draw, pulling the gun out, that those sights almost always, they're not gonna line up perfect every time, but they're gonna be in the position you need them to be. So that way you can take those shots. Now, these are the three things I like to practice on before I go to the range. Once you get to the range, I like to do point shooting. So to pick a distance, however close, however far you want to be. And then I want you to work on with, again, keeping in mind grip, trigger control, sight acquisition, but don't focus on the front sight. Or don't focus on the sight so much that it delays your time. So basically what I'm looking for is something like this. So we got our grip ready, safety off, draw, fire. Draw, fire. Because you should have that sight acquisition close enough that wherever you hit without, being super precise, it's gonna end up in the areas you want. Headshot may be a little difficult. The point I'm trying to make is from a reasonable distance, most of your shots are not gonna be off to the sides or out of the range of where you wanna be. Because of that sight acquisition you worked on, those bullets are almost always gonna hit around where you want to hit. Now, if you wanna take your training a little bit further, when you get to the range, before you start doing all these, just do a bunch of jumping jacks. Get that heart rate up to help mimic being under the influence of, you know, an adrenaline rush, because obviously you're not going to be super calm, taking your time, like, okay, yeah, okay, bad guy there. You're going to be freaking out. Heart rate's going to be super fast. Hands are going to be trembling, shaking. All of that fine motor skills go out the window. And so even though you can't mimic that directly, it gives you something, at least the elevated heart rate, being under some sort of stress to work and train under. So that's what I recommend. All right, guys, so that's my video for you on just some of the things I like to work on before I head out to the range, so I spend my time out there wisely and get the most out of my training while I'm using live ammunition to practice on my targets. Speaking of targets, I got the Viking tactics, so definitely check out those VTAC targets, give them a shot, pun intended, and I'll put a link down below so you can check that out when you're ready. And as far as any other drills, targets that you could recommend to me, please leave me a comment, let me know. I'd love to hear all about it. As always, look forward to seeing you guys at the next one. Thanks for your support. May the Schwartz be with you. Train hard, be safe, take care.